Ibrahim.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Very well, very well.
Politics, eh? I'm going to take you guys away from that for a second. Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and an eye on the streets. And if it's a trending story, we are going to attempt to dissect it on here. Going straight in our first story, the Nigerian Senate has moved forward with a bill that could reshape the country's digital media landscape. Now, it's sponsored by Senator Ned Nwoko, APC Delta North, and the proposed amendment to the Nigeria Data Protection Act aims to enforce stricter regulations on bloggers and social media platforms. Take a look at this.
This bill also mandates all bloggers operating in Nigeria to have an office that is verifiable in any of the capital cities across the country. They must keep proper records of the employees and belong to recognized national bodies, which shall have its headquarters in Abuja. We cannot continue to have a situation where individuals operate anonymously, spreading information mostly false, without any structure or accountability.
Now, according to Senator Nwoko, the goal is to enhance accountability, transparency, and professionalism in digital media, similar to traditional media houses. Now, the bill has successfully passed its second reading and has now been referred to the Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity, who are expected to report back in 2 months. Of course, lots of people online are worried that this is just a way for the Nigerian Senate to censor social activists, civilian journalists, and infringe on their freedom of speech. But the senator also did say that we have high engagement in countries like Nigeria on social media platforms like X, Instagram, and even Google. And these multinational companies have failed to create physical offices here. And he said that should not be the standard. But let's take a look at social media. North Star says, so that you can arrest them twice a week. And Acute Alpha says, the reckless use of social media by the Gen Zs will push for the restrictions. I hope they won't later cry that we didn't advise them. Right now, there's something going on online where we actually see how youth are using social media, and so we have to find a balance. But moving on in our next story, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan isn't backing down. She insists that her 6-month suspension was an attempt to silence her after she accused the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, of sexual harassment. In a BBC interview, she was directly asked if Akpabio had made advances toward her inside the Senate chamber, and this is what she had to say.
I am being victimized. My suspension is a means of silencing me. We're women, we know what it means when a man squeezes our hands in a suggestive way. And he went, now that you're in the Senate, I will make an opportunity for us to come here and have a good moment, you know, along that line.
Did the Senate President ever make any sort of advances towards you in the chamber or in the Senate?
There was a time I rushed to work, forgetting to wear my ring. And there were about 5 senators there, and he was, oh, Natasha, you're not wearing your ring. Is this an invitation to treat? You know, statements like this.
It's clear that Senator Natasha's stance remains resolute, but the Senate Deputy Chief Whip, Onyekachi Onwaibonyi, has dismissed her allegations, and he said that Akpabio has never once approached her. I'm going to take a look at social media. Lagos landlord says, Natasha, stop this emotional game for heaven's sake. The BBC should kindly do a proper report about this issue, not one-sided reporting. Let her provide concrete evidence, like text messages, to prove all of these allegations. She once did it to Reno as well, and later pulled down her post. And Ubong Abia says, that statement isn't sexual harassment, but an abuse of office and power. Senator Natasha should know this. Bring out evidence of sexual harassment, because Nigerians are behind you. No one should be cowed to silence. I have never seen someone use the Fourth Estate so effectively, Ibrahim and Etoma. On one hand, we're seeing a senator using social media to, you know, push for her cause to the best of her ability. On the other hand, we're having the same Senate saying, we want bloggers to have physical addresses. Let's know where your office is.
Physical addresses, that's why it's called virtual. Yeah, I don't. It's a suggestion. Let's see how it goes. And for my dear Natasha, just let it be. I mean, the interviews here and there, the insistence and all that, you're beginning to lose those that are supporting you.
Well, talking about the bloggers who are asked to have physical offices in Abuja and then operate certain way, just the way the mainstream media have been operated for accountability, social responsibility and all of that. Others have been arguing that, listen, this is a stifle for the a gag or stifle of the freedom of information as guaranteed by the Constitution and also the article of the United Nations Charter. So, but in all of these, I feel that it's a conversation. It will be brought to the committee stage. You know, we hope that it will be debated on the floor of the National Assembly, as well as invite people to have this debate on this law and see how it pans out. But we have to do everything to ensure that we do not stifle freedom of information. But though they say there is freedom of expression, but freedom after speech is what we can guarantee. Senator Natasha, well, whichever way this thing goes, we just need to be careful how we do things. When we are at peace, it means I have to learn how I play with you, Olamide, going forward, so that by the time we fall out of anything, you do not use my words,
ties to the BBC.
Against me.
Careful.
Well, we see how it goes anyway.
We will see how it goes. I think the main concern is that we don't want political ambition to be, we want justice to prevail, right? But
yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Yeah.
And moving on, in our next story, the World Health Organization has raised an alarm over an impending shortage of HIV drugs in 8 countries, including Nigeria. Now, the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus, speaking at a press conference on Monday, cautioned nations like Haiti, Kenya, Ukraine, and others could soon face shortages of life-saving medicines.
8 countries now have substantial disruptions to antiretroviral therapy and will run out of medicines in the coming months. Disruptions to HIV programs could undo 20 years of progress, leading to more than 10 million additional cases of HIV and 3 million HIV-related deaths, more than triple the number of deaths last year.
Now, he has stressed that the funding cut jeopardizes millions of lives and risks undoing almost 2 decades of progress in the fight against HIV. He's also warned that this setback could lead to over 10 million new HIV cases and 3 million HIV-related deaths. I want to take a look at what the populace is saying about this. Emenike says, Nigeria had it coming alongside her sister African countries as listed, ever since the Donald Trump winning by terminating the USAID funding. Africans, it is time to grow up. And Barry Due says, HIV drugs will now cost you 3 million naira for 30 days. 90% of Nigerians will not be able to afford it. With Trump cutting funding for free HIV treatment and other HIV programs, the disease will spread like wildfire. Discipline yourself and save your life. Zip up and wrap up. But I will say this is a chance for the Nigerian government to boost local pharmaceutical funding and strengthen internal healthcare funding as well. Sorry, boost local pharmaceutical production. I mean, in the NAFDAC raids that we've been seeing, so many antiretroviral medicines were found, Ibrahim and Etoma, that turned out to be fake. So even if you can afford these medicines during a shortage, how can you guarantee that you're even getting proper treatment, that the medicine you're using is legit?
That have been affected, but one thing I don't understand is that the Trump administration is trying to erase the gains of 2 decades, 20 years of achievement that they've made in fighting some of this scourge that is affecting so many people across, on a global level. So it's a wake-up call for Nigeria, for Rwanda, for Ghana, for all of these countries that have been receiving, these donors from the United States. In helping to tackle this situation of ailment and all of that.
Mine is, how much does it cost to produce them right here in Nigeria? How much does it cost to produce them in Africa? Why have we not done? It's 20 years down the line and we are still doing the same thing, getting the drugs from outside. We could produce them right here. So it's a wake-up call. Let's see what happens. The way to go for me is produce them right here.
Moving on in our final story, I love when I get to end this segment with some good news. Nigerian star Akpoti-Uduaghan has reclaimed his title as Africa's top-ranked table tennis player, and he's just surpassed Egypt's Omar Assar in the latest international world rankings. He's now ranked 18th globally, and he continues to dominate the sport on the continent. His next challenge is the world contender in Chennai in India, and he stands a chance to win $270,000. But before I move on, I'd like to say that please, I've been asking you guys time and time again to chime in on this conversation. Tag us with the hashtag TrendingNowTVC on any social media platform of your choice. I promise you that we are listening. I'm going to take one tweet. Alafe says, congratulations, Kadri. Thanks for putting Nigeria top on the pedestal again. Well done. Boys, do you guys love a good table tennis match or what?
I love table tennis. I love table tennis. That's one sport that affects every part of your body. I mean, from your head down to your toe. It affects every part. So I really like it. It's an indoor game. I don't know about Ibrahim.
No, I like table tennis very, very well. Much more than football. And I say congratulations to Akpoti-Uduaghan, because Egypt is a powerhouse when it comes to that game. Not defeating the Egyptian, going ahead to face the next contender and ranking 18 on a global stage. Congratulations! It shows Nigeria is really getting there. So we wish him the best, to come.
I'll see you on the court, you guys.
What court?
What are we talking about?
You need to be specific. Thank you, Olamide.
Thank you very much, Olamide, for trending now. Well, that's our package for the day. Let's remind you that the views of guests and commentators on the show were their views and has nothing to do with TVC News. My name is Itoma Edu. Tomorrow we'll be right here, same time, for another package.